Hey, me ducks, how are we all doing? Everything is going wrong. You know, when you're up against the clock, I didn't even start the music off until dead on 7, but suddenly realised I'd not made myself a cuppa, so I had to run into the kitchen. Then, for something I'm doing in a little while, I needed to upload some photographs to put on as overlays. They won't upload. I don't know why. They're JPEGs, but they won't upload. And then I remembered this afternoon to add my new intro to my laptop because they're on my phone. So as you'll have seen, I've got a new intro and outro. I've gone back to the music that was the one before this one, so from about 2 years ago. And you know, the sacred space and altar, everything has been updated. So I needed to do it, and I forgot to upload it. So I've just had to run with the old intro. Anyway, let's see who's here. Let's do our usual welcome to everyone. So first one in this week was Rob. Nice to see you, Rob. And closely followed by Caroline. Are you home and settled now, Caroline? And I hope you enjoyed your trip to the UK. And then we have Celia. Hello, Celia. Nice to see you. And Ange. And then Chris is here. Hi, Chris. And we've got Moira and Dana. It was Kanan Beats. Joe. Hi, Joanne. Nice to see you. And Sandra's here. Hi, Sandra. And then we have Sarah and Susan. We've got Robin, who's had a long and productive morning, which is always a good thing. And we have Kathy and Lola. Nice to see you. And Red Wing. Hi, Red Wing. We have David. Hello, David. Saskia. Nice to see you too. And Patsy. Hi, Patsy. How are you? Jenna's here. Hello, Jenna. Sneaks in. It's lovely to see you. So hope you're doing okay. We have Golden and Javi. We have Elspeth and Calla. I'm actually on time. Shocking, says Calla. It's good to see you. Welcome. We've got the lovely Patrice. How are you doing? And Silmaron. Nice to see you here. And we have Lynn and Richie. Hello, Richie. Petra, Lola Faye, Malamia. Nice to see you. We have Tarot Life. Maharet is here. Hi, Maharet. Nice to see you. Raven Song, Trio of Witches. Deanne. Hello, Deanne. And Nicole. And then we have Connie. So many people. It's lovely to see everyone. Artists and Oracles. We've got Bill. Hi, Bill. And Connie, did I say you? I think I did say you, Connie, but hello. So yeah, I'm at the bottom. So how's everybody's weekend going? Hope everybody's had a good week. I need to open the comments here just in case there's anybody in the Facebook group watching. Let's open that up. And I'll just do a quick scout through just to see if I've missed anyone in the land of Facebook. Don't think so. Oh, it's jumping as I'm scrolling up, it's coming back down. So I think you can only scroll back so far. But if anybody is in the Hermit's Cave Facebook group and are watching in there and they've said hello, apologies if I've missed you. Good to be here. It's good to have you here. Who got their Authorian this week? Well, I went on to have a look, and I probably won't get it till payday anyway, but it just said see all buying options. And then I know you have to go to Amazon France, but I always get a little bit nervous because when I bought the Marseille Weight, that's going back a few years ago, I was just kind of guessing, you know, because I don't speak French or read French. And I inadvertently signed up for a year's Prime. So they took something like 90 euros straight out my account. And when I queried it, because it just said Amazon, and I had to ring the bank, and they said it's nothing to do with us. You have to get in touch with Amazon and blah, 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 blah. They said, oh, it's your Prime membership. And I said, no, my Prime membership, I pay monthly, as you can see. And they was like, oh, no, it's your Amazon France Prime membership. I'm like, no, I didn't. Anyway, they was very kind, and they cancelled it. I mean, they can't reimburse it, or they didn't reimburse it, but they cancelled it, so it wouldn't happen again. So I'm a little bit nervous about. Hello, Ramon. Nice to see you. I'm a little bit nervous about buying things, although I have since, and I keep looking to see if another 90 euros has gone out of my account. Oh, that's a nice cup of tea. I've got tea today. I've got Marks and Spencer's Empress Grey. Just thought I'd give that one a try, and it's okay. It's nice. It's not as nice as the Earl Grey or the Lady Grey, but it's less orangey, but it has got a citrus kick. Hello, Jamie. Nice to see you all. You're frozen. Yeah, I had to put my heating on this afternoon for a little bit. Won't be here for 3 weeks, so she's got it for Christmas time. I'm not sure, but yeah, I can't believe how quickly Christmas is coming. All the Christmas decorations have gone up downstairs this week in the shopping centre. So the tree's up, all the decorations are up. They started putting them up at work. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it yet. Not at least till we're in December, not in November. And I don't have a tree. I have my twigs, which I hang crystals and things on. So, but yeah, it's far too early for me. That's not shaming anybody that doesn't think it's too early. Or, if it brightens up your days, then, fair play. Talking about Christmas, and I just looked down and I saw Ramon's comment, and I read it as Dear Santa. I thought Ramon's going to start doing his Christmas Santa wish list, and it's Dear Sandra. But I read it as Dear Santa. All this talk of Christmas. Don't say the C word. I know, right? But, it's here before we know it. I think it's 4 weeks left till I break up for Christmas. And I feel like I've only just gone back. Well, I have only just gone back, really. 2 weeks. But yeah, it's a short half term, this one. Hello, Magus or Magus. It's Magus, isn't it? Magus. I always want to say Magus, but hello. Nice to have you here. I can see Sandra playing Santa. What fun. I don't deal with it till after Thanksgiving. Yeah, so when is Thanksgiving in the States? I know it's coming up. It's normally around the 25th of November, is it? Where are we now? 18th. And it's not on a set day every year, is it? Is it always like on a Thursday, I want to say, or Friday? This Thursday. This Thursday. That's nice. So happy Thanksgiving for Thursday. And we have got somebody from Facebook. Oh, is it that time already? It is. I'm not sure it is. But do you know what? Last week I said, you haven't. I can't remember the lady who was in last week from Facebook. I was like, oh, you haven't added your name. But all I have to do really is just go to the Facebook group quickly and have a look. And then I know who people are, unless you want to say. One comment. It's Tony. Hello, Tony. You do know. Well, you say that, but last week, Tony is watching you. Last week, I was speaking to somebody thinking it was you in the Facebook group, and it wasn't. They were like, no, it's not. And she said what her name was. But But yeah, let's get the main chat open. So yeah, so what's been happening? I do intend to do tonight the Tarot 5Ws that Brian Cormac Carr started. I'm always watching. That sounds a little bit creepy, if you don't mind me saying. I'm always watching you. Was it you last week at not the deck off the shelf? Oops, hit the wrong one there. Yeah, last week. That was spooky, wasn't it? It's not happened since. So, but yeah, so I intend to do Tarot 5Ws, which is the who, what, why, when, where, and why in relation to tarot. But a couple of things. So this week saw the arrival of the Handle Tarot books. I purchased these from Cheryl over at Oneness Emporium. I've started to read the Major Arcana book, and I mean it's Rachel Pollack, so it's going to be great. I've read all of the preface and the foreword, and I've started some of the majors as well. So beautifully written. And yeah, does anybody else have the Handle Tarot? I didn't realize it had been around since the 80s, the early 80s, I think it was. I'm keeping mine in my Mad Witch pouch because it was actually, oh, look how beautiful that is. It was actually Mad Witch, the lovely Giselle, who kind of got me interested in this deck because I've seen it, I've been aware of it, and it never really appealed to me. And then she did, and do check it out if you want to have a nice in-depth look at the handle. I think it's about a 45-50 minute video, but she got the books, and they was really quite difficult to get. So knowing that Oneness Emporium stocks them both is brilliant. But when she showed the artwork for this deck, let me look at this for the star card. I just fell in love with them. So I brought this in Glastonbury when I was there, and I love it. Look at this Hierophant card. So yeah. So I bought the deck in Glastonbury, and then the books for it came this week. What's spooky? I had 2 ghostly spills last night too. My harp fell on the floor and a box of cookies. I guess my ghost wanted a song and a treat. Artists and Oracles has had the handle since the 90s. I love that Mad Witch pouch. Giselle is so wonderfully creative. Yeah, Patrice. I mean, this one is, and the buttons are vintage, but it's just, and it feels like it's really, because it is really protecting the deck. It's quilted and just gorgeous. So yeah, so when I got the Handle Tarot, because it's just in a tuck box, I thought I need a really nice bag to keep this in, because it's going to be my study deck over the winter months. I thought I want it in something really nice, and then of course, because it was Giselle's video, I thought, I know, and it's a perfect place for it. Amazing pouch. I love history, so seem right to have copies of the early tarot. Yeah, I agree. Many associate spirits with Halloween, but I've always believed them to be more active around Christmas. And there's always some, I mean, over here, Bill, there's always a Christmas ghost story on TV. I think it's because of, A Christmas Carol, the old sort of Dickensian Christmas and Victorian times. It does have kind of like a ghostly feel to it, but every year there's always a Christmas ghost story that's shown on TV. Yes, had mine and the book since the 90s too, says Sonique. Yeah, so I was really chuffed to get them. I'm not quite sure why they're not in one volume. I know it would be a thick volume, because 78 Degrees of Wisdom originally was split like this with major and minor. But yeah, I mean, I don't mind. It makes no odds really, but I just don't know why. There are a little difference in size as well. You see, so that's laying flat. So the major book, and these are revised editions, is a little bit shorter. Yeah, they're the same in all of a kind of way. So I'm not quite sure why that is. You can see it more there. But yeah, so I'm really looking forward to working with that. Nearly bought the handle, but the Hebrew letter correspondences don't follow my system. Yeah, well, and that's the thing. And it's something I'm going to talk about when I do the tag, because I don't either. And Kabbalah and astrology, and that's the thing with the tarot, you know, it has lots of esoterica laid on top of it. But for me, I can take what resonates and kind of disregard what doesn't, because I do feel, and I talked about this about, what tag was I doing when I was talking about, no, it wasn't a tag, it was about gatekeeping. You know, when people say, oh, but you should know about astrology, or you should know about Kabbalah, there's that much now that can be layered onto the tarot, even with alchemy and all that kind of stuff. And I think sometimes it can put people off. But when we think about, you know, the origin of tarot, and I know a lot of that is up for debate and people have different kind of ideas. And for me, you know, I take it back to the game, and, you know, Benbow, what's his name? I've got his name's gone out of my head. Beneficio Bembo. I take it to that, you know, and the Sforzas and the Visconti, and how it then, you know, went through France and everything else. But it's very basic. It's very basic, or can be. It's when we got into like the Golden Dawn era, where other things started to be kind of layered on top of it. Anyway, I'm going down a rabbit hole. Simon, have you heard when Christophe Ponset's Boo is coming out? Do what? Have you heard when Christophe Ponset's Boo is coming out? Oh, is that the deck you were talking to me about, Sandra, when we was in Glastonbury? Oh, no, it wasn't. It was before we went to Glastonbury, when he was here the night before. You showed me some cards. Is that the one that David's referring to? Oh, book. Because there's a Boo Tarot, isn't there? That's what I was thinking. No, I haven't, David. So I was on a completely different wavelength there. I love simplicity, the basics. Yeah, but there's something for everybody, isn't there? And, you know, what, like I said, some people don't want a basic deck. They're looking at you know, what appeals to them in terms of their spiritual tradition or practice. So the other thing with the books, and I haven't opened it yet, but Cheryl very kindly put this calendar in, Sacred Celtic Sites and Other Places of Power in Britain and Ireland. And I thought, how cool. So it was very kind of her, you know, she really didn't need to do that, because she's generous enough as it is. So take out the cardboard insert that's protected it. I mean, I love places like this, trying to get it so it's not oh, and standing stones, stone circles. Oh, Love it. That's in Ireland. Let's see if there's a couple more to show you. Look at that. Doon Fort in Ireland. How amazing. Merry Maidens. I've heard of the Merry Maidens. It says in England, but I can't remember in what county. I've heard of the Merry Maidens. Wales. St. Helens. I think that might... Is that Jersey? No, it's England. Oh, look at that. We've got so much history here. I love it. Orkney Islands. Oh, it might be then because it's got Orkney Islands in it. Yeah, beautiful. And Tintern Abbey. Look how gorgeous that is. So thank you for sending that, Cheryl. That was really sweet. Oh, I'm bending a card. Let's pop that there so it doesn't get damaged. And then Chris has done his laundry. He says my washing is all hung up and dry now, so I can chat. I was just saying, Chris, I know you've got them, but my Handle Tarot books arrived this week. Then the other thing I've got to open is, I don't know if Sandra, did you order these as well? I was on Instagram actually, and I saw that Sons of Asgard had put on, they weren't available when we went, or so I'd pick them up straight away there. Some altar cards of the Sabbat altar cards. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to get them and they're reasonably priced. And then a bit later on that evening, Sandra was like, have you seen these? I was like, oh, yes. Yeah, Sabbat altar cards. They're hard to get into. Oh, look how they're tied up as well. Tied up with string. So now you know how I like everything in symmetry. I've got some Sabbat cards which have like a poem on them. So if it says Samhain, it will give a little verse and a nice little design. And we actually saw them in one of the shops in Glastonbury. But it's just on one side and there isn't anything on the other side. So, and the design on these is very, very different. I've got to try and I don't want to miss your comments as well. Busy days. Seen that. Sandra says, I haven't ordered them yet, but I will do. Are you wiggling your Y fronts? Okay, I'm in. Am I? Yes, I am. So yeah, they're quite basic in design, but I really do like them. They're quite a nice size as well, as you can see. And it says Sabbat altar cards, and it's by Sons of Asgard. Do check out their shop. I don't know if they ship abroad or not, but if you're in the UK, that's their website, sonsofasgard.co.uk, and they've got some amazing stuff on there. In fact, I haven't sprayed. Oh, look at that. From the little rope. Oh, it's not showing up on camera. I've got all these little, there you are, from the string. My Samhain magical spray, because this smells gorgeous. I like putting it all over me as well. And they do one for each of the Sabbat. Well, they do one for everything. They've got tons of sprays. Do ship internationally. Great. That's good to know. So yeah, so we start with the Samhain card. I think we start with the Samhain card because obviously it's the new year, the pagan new year, when the wheel starts to turn again. Beth, how's that going? Okay. So they're really thick as well, as you can see. So they're going to stand up lovely on a little stand, which I've got. I've already got my stand out ready to put them on. So as you can see here we've got Samhain. So if I show you, bear with. Okay, so this is the one I have at the moment. So you see what I mean? It's got a little design at the bottom. It says Samhain. The leaves fall thick, the veil grows thin. It's time for a new cycle to begin. And then these are the little wooden stands that I use to put the cards on. So as you'll see, no, perhaps shouldn't do that, but they'll sit quite nicely on the stand. And then on the back, we've got like this kind of inverted image from the front, so you can have a choice of which image you want to display. But it's rose petal finish, which is really nice, and really thick. It's almost like a slate, but the feel is gorgeous. Yeah, and this set, these were quite expensive. I think these were about 30 something pounds, Sandra. And they're all in order, ready for each one. So, because I just put them to the back when I get them out. So this one is a nice blue colour. Yule. Where did you get the little wooden stands from? I think Amazon years ago. I think. They're very sturdy. Very sturdy. And they open that much quicker than the hinge. But yeah, really good. Yule, and then we've got the white version on the back, and that's my Yule card, which will go out next. Let's put that one there, and then we have Imolc. It's beautiful colours, isn't it? These are very reasonably priced. Yeah, I think it was something like £15. And for the quality of them, because as you can see, really thick and this nice rose petal. You've got no reflection from the light at all, look, compared to if I hold something up that does reflect the light, you'll see. Because that's the thing with rose petal, it doesn't reflect. Ostara is gorgeous colours, look at that. Sandra likes the colourful side. But you like it better than the white with the colour? Yeah, I think I do too. Interesting how it's spelt. So here it's like Bealtaine. And I think in Ireland, Beltane is pronounced Bealtaine. I mean, I still call it Beltane. See how it's spelled here. Yeah, Beltane. And then we go into Letha. Nice sunny yellow for Letha. Interestingly, and this is where Sandra and I differ, because she likes to refer to it as Lunasar, and I tend to say Lammas. The Sons of Asgard have gone with Lunasar, so that will please you, Sandra. Whereas my other card does say Lammas, so I'll have them both there now. And that's a nice orangey colour. Yes, Angie, that's right, the Irish way. I see Deathy the duck is still out. So cute. Yeah, Deathy the duck. And then we have Mabon. And look at those colours. Very earthy colours from Mabon. So I'm really impressed with these. Really impressed because the quality is exceptional. Really, really nice quality. It's got this on the back. So there's a front and a back. What does it say? 8 stunning double-sided art cards containing a magical sigil for each of the Celtic festivals within the Wheel of the Year. So you can see the wheel going around, and then there's a sigil for each one in the center. These cards can be placed on an altar or in a sacred space to help connect to the energy of the season. Each sigil has been created with the very essence of the celebration in mind. That's really cool, isn't it? So yeah, so that they came this week, a couple of days ago, I think it was. But I thought I'll wait to open them. Let's pop that there. We'll have that and that ready to go. And let's have a look at, let's have some tea and have a look at some comments. Oh, that's a nice cup of tea. Unfortunately, I have to get ready for work now. Have a great weekend. Okay, Nancy, see you soon. Flagella's here as well. Hope you're okay. I still have to pronounce Samhain as Samhain. Do you actually pronounce it that way, Robin? I think so, Sam. In different ways pronouncing Samhain too between the countries. Yeah. £15, thought it was. Oh, you can get the stands at Michael's or Target if there's one near you. Chris and Beth are on about yoga, I think. Chris, have you taken up yoga? I have their Yule spray somewhere. Time to dig it out. I've got the Yule spray as well from last year from their celebration kit. So I've got some more because I think it was this time last year when I got back from Glastonbury that I started to buy the celebration kits, and I think I've got 3, and then I couldn't get any. I think I couldn't get Ostaras or something like that, and so it kind of fell by the wayside. I thought, well, I'll pick them up next year because I want to make sure I've got everything. And they're so generous with their sizes and everything. They last a long time. So I said to Sandra when we got back to the cottage, I said, I've picked up a Samhain spray. And she's like, right. And I said, I get a Samhain spray in the celebration kit. But I mean, this one is £6.50, which is really good because when you go into a lot of shops and you buy these sprays, they're double that price. So I was really, really impressed. And then I looked, and I've still got about a quarter of a bottle left from last Samhain. So I've got it out here, and I thought I need to use these. So each day now, when I sit at my desk and do my reading, I spray. Okay, have I missed anything else? I really enjoyed yours and Spirit of Avalon's videos and goodies. I'm glad you enjoyed them. David pronounced it Savine. Savine. I've not heard it pronounced that way before. Oh, I'm glad you're well. Always thought Sam Hain was scarier sounding, perhaps because of the movie Halloween. Gosh, no, I can barely get off the couch making that old man noise. Imagine me doing yoga. Yoga's for everybody, any age, any size. Really love Spirit. Really lovely Spirit of Avalon. I read that as really love Spirit of Avalon. I'm just like you. I can't leave anything behind if it's the last one on the shelf. Well, I've managed to get the last Samhain kit. I saw it there and there's one left. Oh, gosh. Nearly dislocated me shoulder grabbing it. There is such a thing as seated yoga. Yeah, and Qigong is really good for seated as well. I used to do Qigong a while back though, and I'm talking like 18 years ago. But I used to find that really, really relaxing. It's a form of Tai Chi, isn't it? Qigong. Yes. So let's have a look at. I'm one of the yoga students just started taking yoga, and she's 74, and it's really helped her sciatica. There you are, Chris. We'll expect a progress report after you've signed up to your local yoga class. I could just see Chris with his yoga mat under his arm and his leotard on. My knees disagree. Okay, so Tarot 5Ws. Has anybody seen this tag? Brian put it out, I think it was last weekend, maybe on Sunday. And yeah, so I know Robin's done it. I've seen Robin's. So it's the who, what, when, where, and why are the 5Ws. And Brian says that you can choose, is put a number of prompts under each one. And I think his original intention was to, you could choose one. And I'm not doing them all, but I've kind of picked and adapted. Sandra's seen the tag, and I think I picked a couple just to get started on. So Tarot 5Ws. I need to see the timestamp so I can put it in as well, so that people don't have to sit through the first 40 minutes of me going on. I think I might have done this years ago. BCC tagged me to do it again, so hopefully get that. Don't think it's a one that's been done. However, the thing with tags is that there might be a prompt in there that's been done before, because the why, for instance, there's been a tag or various tags over the years, which is why I tarot, or why tarot is important, the why tarot thing. And I can remember I did a tag that had got lots of prompts, and one of them was why tarot over any other divination system, and quite a few people responded with why not. So I was kind of like, oh, okay. So when I saw that, I thought, yeah. So I don't think the tag in its entirety has been done before, but you've probably seen elements of it. Luna can teach you, download facing dog position. Yoga is great for the knees. Yeah. Okay. So the who is the first prompt. So who turned you on to the tarot? So I have told this story before. It was I was going to say a lady, but she was 16, so a girl, same age as me, back in 1987, and we used, I say we, a few people. Don't know if I should mention people's full names, so I probably won't. But there was a nickname for it anyway, which had tarot in it, and we used to get to work quite early, and then you had to sit and wait to get keys and a float. because we worked in the retail department at a theme park, and there was 20 something retail units, and you never knew which one you was going to be in. You could very often you got put in the same one, but sometimes you'd be moved around. So you'd wait, and they'd come and they'd say, right, you're opening Bears Paw today, or you're opening Hudson Bay, and they give you your keys and your float. And while we were sat there this particular morning, she was reading tarot cards. So of course, me being me, even back then, moth to a flame, was just fascinated with them. And she gave me a reading, and I really enjoyed it. And I just got this kind of desire to want to read cards myself and have my own tarot deck. And I gave her some money, and she purchased me a tarot deck, which was keys and a float. What's a float? That's the money that goes into the till that isn't part of your takings. So we used to have a £51 float. So you'd have a bag of pound coins, which there was 20, and then it goes into tens, which are 50p's and 20p's. And then you had a bag of tens and a bag of fives, which are £5 each, which is 50, and then a bag of ones, 1 pennies, because things always over here are 99 at the end, so you always have to give a penny out. And that's your float. So you have a £51 float, and then at the end of the day, when you cash up, you deduct £51, and everything else is your takings, if that makes sense. A float is like startup money for a task. Yeah, that's what a float is. That's what we call it over here, your float. And then it really funny, just going off on a tangent, because I do. If you got too much, so if you had a really, really busy day and your till was getting really full, because the supermarkets now have these little, you can put money in like a tube and it gets sucked up a pipe. Across the theme park, you haven't got that. But you would have to radio, because we was radios then, radio for a bunny hop. Because you had to use codes. Because if you said, I'm in Quality Western store and I need some cash taken out my till, and all the different people around the park with radios on hear that, they get to you first, you could be robbed, you see. So you used to have to use codes. So it was a bunny hop. I need a bunny hop. I mean, all that jazz. And then security would come and they'd take the money out your till and go. So yeah, we call it that in Canada too. I take it you mean float, not bunny hops. Okay, so that was who first turned me on to tarot. And then there's who's your favorite tarot author? I think it's obvious. My favorite tarot author is Rachel Pollack. I've got most of her books, there's still one more I want to get. But ever since reading 78 Degrees of Wisdom back in 2016, I loved Rachel and Rachel's works. So, and that's why I'm really looking forward to reading the Handle Tarot books as well. And who's your favorite deck creator? Okay. We want to have a bit of competition time, really. I'm sure you know who my favorite tarot deck creator is. If you want to have a guess. No one cracked that code, huh? No, Beth. Who would ever think? I need a bunny hop. No one's gonna. £2.50 for a bag of Chris. You've all gone radio silence on me. Well, you're all saying Pixie. So Pixie, yes, but Pixie's only, I mean, my soul deck is the RWS, as you know, particularly Pixies, and there's lots of other versions out there, but the OG is my soul deck. But in terms of somebody who puts out decks on Lady Frida, oh, busted. Lady Frida, oh my gosh. Yes, yes, Patrick Valenza. I mean, Patrick has his own cubbyhole, so everything in here is a Patrick Valenza deck. Scylla Conway, very closely. I mean, yeah, Shimmering Veil in particular is fantastic. And Chris has also said Scylla, Stephanie Burrows. We're doing a bunny hop. Yeah. So who first turned you on to tarot was a girl I worked with. Her name was Sharon. Let's leave it there. Where I used to work at the American Adventure theme park. Yeehaw. And favorite tarot author is Rachel Pollock, and favorite deck creator is Patrick Valenza. Patrick is such a talented artist. He really is. And, you know, this is the latest one I bought is the Zama Twins. And I just think that is a fantastic Oracle deck. That's the empty box. I've got them in this black silk pouch. But lots of incredible work. Love him. When I go to New York next year as well, I need to let him know I'm coming, because he's always said, if you ever come to New York, I'll show you the original 10 Deviant Moon cards. So that's something that's got to happen. Yeah, Chris says, that's true. He even has Patrick decks that he doesn't know he has. So Chris and I was doing Throwback Thursday, not this Thursday gone, but the Thursday before. And we got to the end and we hadn't had the discussion like we normally do about what deck we're going to do the next month. So Chris said, we haven't decided on the deck. This is live on both our channels. And he said, what about Deviant Moon? He said, because I've got it, you've got it. And I know that looking through your playlist, you've never done a throwback on it, which I thought I had actually. And then he said, and we've got different versions. And I was like, oh, yeah, you mean bordered and borderless? And then he's like, no, because then there's also the, what's the edition called? What is it called? Here I go again. A paradoxical version. I went, you're on about Trionfi della Luna? And he's like, no, Deviant. I went, there's a paradoxical version of Deviant Moon? And then he was describing it, and I thought, oh, I've actually got it. Oh, dear. When you've got that many decks that you actually forget what you've got is worrying, isn't it? That was a funny moment. Need to buy the Zama Twins Oracle, indeed. Yeah, I think it's the second edition that's out now. Okay, so then we move on to the what. What do you love most about tarot? And that I had to sit and really think about that one, because I mean, I use it every day. And then I thought, well, why do I use it every day? And what do I love most about the tarot? And I think really there's two things that stick out the most. One is it knows me. And that might sound quite bizarre, but what I mean by that is, and it's not outside of myself. Okay, I just want to make that really clear. When I say it knows me, what I mean by that is because, as I've mentioned before, what I see in the tarot is a projection of what I'm experiencing and what I'm feeling, and, you know, what's perhaps happening on the inside, that the tarot helps me to kind of focus on something and see how I'm interpreting the cards is then dependent on my life state, if that makes sense. So, of course, when you lay down the cards, you're looking at them from your vantage point where you are currently in your life and in that moment. And so it would know you because you're the one who's reading the cards. But there's no denying that there's very often sometimes comical, but sometimes bittersweet moments where I look at the cards and I think, okay, I know what you're getting at there, or sort of sometimes when I need a bit of a shake, I get a shake. And sometimes when I kind of need a reminder that you don't need to take everything so seriously. So the cards, what I love about the tarot is that, there's that bond, there's that connection. And the second part is it's dependable. Because I'm never without a tarot deck. I've either got them around me or there's one in my bag. There's always one close to hand in any given moment, that I rely on it and I depend on it, and it never lets me down. It's a dependable friend. So that's what I love, I think, about the tarot. And do join in, if you want to answer any of these, let me know, your thoughts, what you find a subliminal connection. Yeah. Because it does mirror. We've talked about, and I've talked about, it's even on my website, I talk about the tarot as a mirror, and I don't just think that's all it is, but it certainly is that. So for me, I can see things more clearly when I polish my mirror. And by that, I mean, by shuffling a deck and laying it down, and then I can see the message as I'm interpreting it. Because, if I lay down some cards and there's somebody else here, they're going to interpret it different to how I'm interpreting it. Again, because we're doing it from our own vantage point, aren't we? I love tarot because it kicks me in the butt. Yeah, it can. But sometimes it can be a comforter. Sometimes it does kick you in the butt. Sometimes it's a comedy. I think I did a tag, seems familiar, a few years ago called Circle of Friends Tarot. I think I did. I did a tag called Circle of Friends, and I gave categories, like the dependable friend, the friend that is the joker, the trusted confidant, and I gave these sort of categories, and then I put a deck to each of them. But yeah, it has multiple personalities. I can't imagine not having tarot either, Robin. I remember DBT days before tarot. DBT. Now I can't imagine being without at least one deck wherever I go. I love the connection I have with the people that use tarot. That's a good point. Some folks don't travel without a Bible. I don't travel without my tarot. Yeah. Have tarot, will travel and make new friends. Yeah. And it does. It's a conversation starter a lot of the times. Okay. So the other what that I chose is what's currently your most used deck. So currently, my most used deck I've been using for about a month now. And I took this to Glastonbury with me. And Sandra also had a look at this deck. And I believe there's only a second version out now. But this was a gift I got for my birthday from Elle, my DD. And it's Tarot of the Holy Spectrum. So it's completely black on the sides and the backs. And then it has these beautiful colours. Every time I read with this deck, love that back, Simon. It's cool, isn't it? Every time I read this deck, I just get the feels. It's just incredible. It's called Tarot of the Holy Spectrum because it's spectrum of colours. I think there's links between like the quartz are all one colour for each suit. But yeah, it's just a beautiful, incredible deck. Gorgeous matte cardstock. The second edition, I believe, is glossy. And I really don't know what the creator was thinking to go from this amazing, lovely, nice cardstock, matte finish to gloss. I know some people like gloss, so, you know, each to their own, but and I have thought about getting a second edition to have a backup, and some of the images I think was changed. Was that right? When we watched it, Sandra and Glastonbury. Sure, some of them. Yeah, some changed. But it's incredible deck. Such a lovely gift. No, I have the second edition, and it's not gloss. The second edition that's silver backs, silver edging. It's almost like a silver block. And I'm like, this is a black. I'm sure they were glossy. The Infinity is glossy. I'm a matte guy myself. Yes, just a few changes. So anyway, this is my current most used deck. And I keep putting the black card back in. Kind of like protects it. So what's your guys' most current mirror backs? Yeah, mirror backs and silver gilded edges, I think, and glossy cardstock. So let me know yours. It still says mirror backs. Okay. So the third one is when. Well, I kind of answered that. So for the when, for me, when did you first encounter tarot? Like I said, I was 16. It was 1987. The summer of 1987. Such a good year that year. I loved 1987. I think 1987 is my favorite year so far in life. And then also, when did you do your first reading? So I'm going to break this down into professionally and kind of for fun. So the for fun was obviously back in 1987 when said friend went and got the deck for me, which was the 1JJ Swiss. I went over to my sister's house and I was like, do you want your tarot cards read? So she's a lot like me. She's like, oh yeah. So I folded out the paper fold out with the Celtic cross. I took out the minors because, like, what are they? And I just used the 22 major cards and set to it, you know, and was just, I guess, winging it or using intuition or because I don't even remember consulting the book. I remember just going with what was coming out. But anyway, his sister seemed to enjoy the reading. But she was one of them that was like, the next day, can I have another reading? I'm like, can't keep asking for readings. My first professional reading, for tarot or... See, I used to do parties. So, but that's going back to 2003, 2002. When did I get soul cards? I got soul cards in 2002, and I used to read with them. So people would book me for parties. So they'd have a party, and I'd go over. I'd be in one room, and they'd come through one at a time, and I'd give them readings. I used to have the posters and everything. In fact, I bet if I went on my external hard drive, I'd still find those old posters. But I also used to do things like Reiki and chakra rebalancing and all that kind of stuff as well. Way back when. So I guess that would be you know, in terms of professionally. And then when I opened my shop and launched my website, The Hermit's Cave, which was in 2019, January 2019. And I won't say who the first person was, because the first person is a member of our community, not in the chat tonight, but a member of our community. But I remember being very nervous doing a reading. And I also thought it went on a bit too long, because I think it was just under an hour. But the feedback that I got from this person was just wonderful. And I asked if I could use the quote for my website, and they said, yeah, absolutely. So yeah. Did you have any secret tarot during the Mormon years? Playing cards. But even they're frowned upon. You can't have playing cards. They didn't really used to like you playing Uno, but we did. We used to play Uno every Sunday afternoon. You can't have TV on or anything like that. But anyway, but yeah, sometimes I would use playing cards, and I mentioned that before. But yeah, no, tarot didn't come back into my life until I bought the Rider-Waite deck in 2008. So that was 15 years ago. Coming up to 16 years at the beginning of 2008. Yeah, but Oracle decks I had, and soul cards is what I used to exclusively read with. What else? What we up to? When? Yeah. So the next one is where do you do your readings? So you name it, I'll do it. Mainly for myself, it's here. It's literally sat where I'm sat now. I don't have this set up in front of me. And I've got decks all around me. But as I said, this one is my current go-to. So if you've seen the videos recently with a camera down position, you'll see the little goddess, and then behind her is a box. In that box is this deck, and also the Miss of Avalon Oracle deck, which I've been using. So they're right in front of me, so I can just lift the lid, grab the decks, and off I go. But you know, I've even read in a pub at Christmas last year. So if somebody wants a reading and we're out and about, well, I like to normally find somewhere that's pretty quiet. But this was a Tuesday night. It's not like it was a Saturday night and there was dum dum dum. You know, it was nice and quiet. We sat in the corner of this pub, and I gave somebody a reading. Somebody reading there. So since RWS wasn't your first deck, how did you come across them? Must have been quite an event, as they're your favorite. That's a good question, Robin. So you may have seen somebody called Jen, who's a friend of mine. We've been friends since we were teenagers. We've lived together 3 times. She's a lifelong friend. And when we first had a flat, we both worked at this theme park. She bought a tarot deck as well. And hers was the Rider-Waite pack, as it was called then. And I didn't. This is going to be a little controversial, isn't it? I mean, obviously, I didn't read the 1JJ Swiss Minors, the pips, because I couldn't back then. And even though hers were all fully illustrated, I wasn't instantly drawn to the artwork in the same way that I was drawn to the 1JJ Swiss artwork. I mean, let me give you an example. So it's going to take me a while to find it. I know it is. For 2 decks. I want to give you an example. I bet it's right at the bottom, isn't it? Talk amongst yourselves. Right, okay, that's one. And then things are going to go crashing down in a minute. Do. You know, when you're really trying to find a particular card, I should check whether this one's at the bottom. No. You're joking me. Don't tell me I've gone past it on those. Second to last card. So, for me, this is such an iconic image. I like this image, but I don't know. Which do you prefer? So when I saw Jen's cards, I was like, yeah, they're all right. But the images in the majors of the 1JJ Swiss, I don't know, they're just, and it could be, which we've mentioned many times before, particularly because I'd seen these images every week on my favorite TV show as a kid, which was Tales of the Unexpected, going around on a carousel. This one and the Death card, I just love them. I love the images. So fast forward to 2008 to answer Robin's question. I decided, you know, I've been working with soul cards, and I just sat. It was a Saturday. I still remember it really vividly. It was a Saturday, and I was sat here. I mean, this image as well. When I first got this deck again, I was like, I just love it. It was a Saturday, and I thought, I want to learn the tarot. I want to learn the tarot, and I want to learn it properly. So I set out, as another iconic image. So I set out to go and find a deck and a book. So that's what I did. I went down into the shopping centre. I'd only been living here 2 years. Went down to the shopping centre and went into W.H. Smith's. And I had to ask, but luckily I knew the person who worked in there, an ex-partner. Too many rabbit holes here. And I just said, do you have any tarot decks? And they'd taken them off because people were pinching them. And I said, well, what's a good one to start with? And they said, this one. And it says on it, the world's most famous tarot deck or something like that. I've still got it. It's on the shelf up in this cubicle. And then I bought Tarot Bible by Sarah Bartlett. And that was it. That was the deck. And when I opened it, I thought, well, these images are familiar as well. But I mean, the RWS is part of our culture, so I would have seen them anyway. And then Jen came over to stay, and she went, well, that's the deck I had back in the 80s when we lived together at the flat. And I was like, oh, right. So then from what year did I discover YouTube? 2016. So 8 years. The only tarot deck I had was the RWS. The only one I had for 8 years. So of course I grew fond of it and loved it. And then I remember finding the community and hearing about the Radiant tarot and thinking, oh, that's a bit prettier. Buying that, then hearing about the Universal tarot and buying that. And then it went on from there. Let's see if I missed anything else. Do you remember you even got asked for a reading at the tarot meetup? Yeah, we was on about that, weren't we, in Glastonbury? I'm I'm not going to mention anybody's name, but yeah, was at a tarot meetup the first year that we did the meetup, so COVID year 2020. There was a break, wasn't there, from first lockdown to second lockdown. So we still went, and there's only a handful of people that came to the meetup in Glastonbury. And there was somebody who said, and Glastonbury's busy, you know, some people went for something to eat, other people went for a drink, other people went around the shops. I just said there's a handful of people. There must have been a few more than that. But there's a small group of us, and we went to sit in, it was a lovely hot August day, and we went to sit in the church grounds on the high street. And this person said, "Can I have a reading?" I was like, "Oh, I ain't got a tarot deck on me, sorry." And they was like, "Well, can you go back to your accommodation and get your tarot deck?" Because of course they know I'm going to take a tarot deck with me. So I had to go back to my accommodation, grab a deck, and then give this person a reading right in the middle of the tarot meetup. I didn't mind. It was actually quite nice. They got quite emotional, but yeah. Did anyone else in the pub come up for a nosy at what you were doing, Simon? No, because it was, like I said, it was really quiet. So there was like a main bar area, and then it went in like an L shape, and we sat in the very corner of the L shape. So there was only us in that bit. But yeah. I hated the RWS when I first got it. It took a while for it to grow on me, but then there was no turning back after that. RWS was the only tarot I could find when I started. There weren't so many options back then. I'm happy we started together. Yeah, I agree. And there's, in the same way, even though I prefer RWS, I will always have such a fondness of 1JJ Swiss. You can't not. Your first is your first. It's like your first love. Even if you fall out of love or you have a horrible breakup, and you end up with somebody else, I think when you think back, you still remember that first love with fondness and the feelings and everything else that was associated with it. The second part of where, I'm saying second, there's more than two, but I've just picked a couple from each, is where do you store your decks? Da-da! But not only that, and this is where the pictures want to upload. So I've got a tray here. So when you see me reach over, I've got a tray of Roses and Lilies, Pame, the Keisha Bow remake, Redux, which is the Old Fellow Revived, the 1JJ Swiss, which is the Petitia edition, and the Llewellyn Tarot. So I've got those 5 out. And then in this corner, I've got the Step one, which has got a number of decks in there, like the original Gaian, Poppy Palin's 2 decks, Conrad Stain decks, 3 of, 4 of, because the giant one's there as well. And then here, I don't know if you can see this. There you go. Look, there's a few decks as well, just on some shelves with crystals on. They're my most grabbable ones. So my Blushing Fool is on there, Pam's old deck, the Musterberg, there's Morgan Greer, there's also Ramon's deck, which I love, the Rider deck with it's an Oracle deck, but using the Rider-Waite-Smith artwork. Who's cheeky? Someone's put so cheeky. I received the 1JJ Swiss today, says Ange. All my other are RWS. Do love the majors. Yeah. Yeah, they're fantastic, iconic images. I don't know who's cheeky, Golden. Did I say something that was cheeky? The Hughes Tarot was Beth's first love. Hello, Son of Sun. Nice to see you. My first boyfriend was Toth, and I really did like him. I can see why. So yeah, so I store, they're not really stored as such. And then I've got this unit, which has around 500 decks on. It goes higher, as you can see, and lower, goes all the way down. And then in the back room, I've got another wall unit, which if you watch my earlier videos, was the wall unit that was there with around 250 decks on. And they're the ones that I probably used the least, so they went back into, I would say use the least. I can't work with 750 decks, but it's nice to have them to be able to pull from them. And on the other side is where he keeps his 10 fire extinguishers to counterbalance the fire hazard. Oh, don't jinx it. If you had to leave your flat in an emergency, which deck would you grab? Probably my Blushing Fool. Very quickly, it's the first one. It's got this beautiful piece of fluorite on it. Yeah, and this is my all-time favorite deck. In fact, this is the 1972, I think. It's not the Blushing Fool. The Blushing Fool is kept in a box, protected, but it's the same, exactly the same. The only difference is the Fool doesn't have a blush, but it's still the blue box, and the artwork is just beautiful. Line work is amazing. So yeah, the blue box RWS, yeah, that's the one I would grab in an emergency. So it's the first one there. But I would go over to the other side. That's somewhere else to store decks. On my little table under the window, there's 2 wooden boxes with antique decks in, and one is the Blushing Fool. And then there's the 1960s Albano weight, and like the what's it called? The deck from Japan. I can't think what it's called. JK weight. Yeah, and other vintage decks. The person who asked you to go back for your tarot cards. Oh, right. Yeah. You can just go and get them. And the other side, where is it? If you had to leave, yeah, I read that one. Simon, did you have to leave your flat in a hurry and you didn't grab any? Yeah. So for years, going around in some form of tag somewhere, going around the tarot community is, if there was a fire and you had to grab a deck, or there's an emergency and you have to grab a deck, which one would it be? And people have, always gone, oh, don't say that, don't. And it actually happened where I had to get out of here pretty quick. And I didn't take a deck. I just scarpered. So in the moment, you'd like to think that the first thing you think about is tarot, and I need to take one with me. But truth is, you just grab your coat and you go. Thanks for the reminder, Beth. Yes, JK Wait. Okay, so now we're up to the last one, which is why. So as I said, this one has done the rounds over the years, like why tarot and all that. So I've gone with, why do I study tarot? And I think primarily because the word study puts me off with somebody with ADD. I have flashbacks for exams and trying to retain information, which I can't do. And my palms start sweating whenever I hear study. Even now, even in September, we had some training days and I went on a course for mental health first aid. And they said, oh, at the end of today, there will be a test under exam conditions. I nearly hyperventilated because I can't retain information like that. And that's why there's a flaw with our education system, because it isn't a one size fits all. People can't always do well at exams through no fault of their own. And it's nothing to do with intellect. It's about finding a way for that person to be able to learn. We've all got individual learning styles. Anyway, it's a different thing. So for me, it has to excite me. That's the hook. And at the moment, as I mentioned earlier, I'm excited to learn and study the Handle Tarot. And because I've got a great teacher, you know, I'm excited for it. So when you're excited for something, you really want to do it. So why I study is because it excites me. The other thing why I study tarot is because there's always something to learn. And this goes back to what I was talking about earlier as well, because tarot is adaptable to so many schools of philosophy, spiritual practices, traditions, you know, because it's in its simplest form, as I said, tarot can be, it could just be like a picture book that evokes emotions and ideas and thoughts, where you can get your thoughts that are jumbled quite clearly. You can look at the interaction between the cards, and you can just see it as a kind of like a storyboard. But as I said, there are people that put alchemy onto it, astrology onto it, Kabbalah, Hebrew letters, all of these different esoteric meanings, even things like Mayan sort of, what's the word I'm thinking of? Mythology or Tantra. You know, there's always something that people will overlay onto the tarot. And that makes it really fascinating as well. And even though at the moment I might not be interested in something like Kabbalah, that doesn't mean in 5 years from now that I still won't be. You know, it might be that actually I might want to explore that, and then there's something else to learn about the tarot. So I love the fact that it's adaptable as well. Exploring is better than saying studying. Yes. Yeah. David's got a mini RWS in his backpack. Like here in Chile, we have so many strong earthquakes. I have them ready to take and run. Keep tarot decks in your pocket. What deck resides in my rucksack, Robin, in my shoulder bag, is the mini version of Pam's old deck. That's what's in my my bag at the moment. And it's not in the tin either. I didn't get a tin. No, it's the mini version, but it's in a wrap. That's what's in there, in the zip compartment. I have the mini Star Seeker. We're all talking about what's in our bags now. I have an interesting Mayan deck and book. That's interesting, Calla. Studying makes it seem like a chore. Exploring or learning sounds better. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the prompts. So it's tarot 5 W's, and it's who, what, when, where, and why. And it's started by Brian Carmack Carr. Once this video is uploaded, I will put a link to Brian's video in the description, so do check it out, and I'll look out for people's responses. Let's pull a card. Let's pull a card. Okay, take off the cover one. Oh, I've got the Solar Busker Revisited. That's one that's actually on my desk here. It's a gorgeous deck. Okay, so a message for the collective, something for us to focus on for the week ahead. Ooh. We have the 9 of Cups. I pulled this earlier in the week because I noticed the thing on her neck, which I'll talk to you about. It's the only other bit of colour, which to me feels like it's a pendant to a jewel. And I think this is a really interesting take because with the 9 of Cups, it's the kind of like the wish fulfillment, but also having some gratitude for what you've already got. I think this might have even come up in a card pull a week or two ago. But this is really interesting though, Elixir to Well, because when we think of wishes, we often think of wishing wells as well. And I wonder if that's a deliberate, I don't know because there's no book that accompanies this deck. But for me, it's about, you know, it's great to have wishes. We should always, keep them alive, because when we have a wish, we're putting intention out there, and when we've got an intention, it's something that we can work towards and manifest. But what I really noticed, because there's no guidebooks as well, I don't know about you, but if you've got a deck where there's no guidebook, you really go into the image and look at the symbols and things. And this is a black and orange tone, but there is this jewel. And it reminded me of The Alchemist, where he was, and I think there's even, it might be a biblical reference though from way back, but where somebody had was experiencing extreme poverty, and sewn inside the hem of a coat was a precious diamond, and all the time, that jewel had been there. And in The Alchemist, it's the story of Santiago who goes in search of buried treasure because he dreams about it. But the place where the buried treasure is was right underneath him where he had the initial dream. So it kind of reminds me as well, when we think of the 9 of Cups, about actually realizing what we've got, and as I said, there's nothing wrong with having a wish, but it's also about counting your blessings and looking at what you've achieved, looking at what you've accomplished and what you have around you. And do we need that really that we're chasing? And if we do, and there's nothing wrong with that, but explore where it's coming from. What are we wishing for, and where is that coming from? Is it coming from a good place? Is it coming from a genuine place? Or is it coming because so-and-so's got it, therefore I want it? Is that a lightning bolt on her pendant? No, it looks like it's connecting everything, because it's like connected to a tree, going through her, connecting to the well, and going all the way down. It's a really interesting image, isn't it? So there you have it. Think about where that we are striving for, our wishes, what place is it coming from? Cal has become fascinated with the Tarot de Marseille. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. It's bang on 8:30. So that hour and a half went by really, really quickly. Yeah, I appreciate you being here and stopping by and chatting and hanging out with me. Now, next weekend, yeah, should be okay. I'm actually working. I have to work 2 Saturdays a year at an exhibition. I've got a stand. But I should be back for around tea time. So 7 p.m. should be still okay. If anything goes awry, I will obviously notify people through the community bit and in the Hermit's Cave Facebook group, but I think I'll be okay. And I'll update my intros and outros as well in the week. Thanks, everyone. Have a fantastic weekend. And until next time, go in peace. Namaste and blessed be.